Lawin Media Network,
bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pink Table Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Carly D., a doctorally prepared registered nurse, educator, mentor, professional development specialist, victims advocate, and thriver. The show is produced by Lawin Media Network, and you can catch us live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, live either through our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitch TV, and on all podcast platforms. Tonight, I'm so happy to be bringing back one of our returning guests. She was with us during season 1 and season 3. So I would like you all to welcome back poet and author Starr Davis.
Hey. I'm so glad to be back. Hi.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
You know, I love all of the work you do, all of your writing. It's so personal, it's so deep, it's so touching, and it's so bold. I think for me, yes, that's what I love about it the most is that you go there. You know, you're not afraid to bare your soul and put your thoughts and your heart to the paper.
Yeah.
So for those of my audience and the new audience members at home, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing history and journey?
Yes, I am Starr Davis, a writer, poet, a mama, so many things, a creator, an educator, an instructor, so many things. Based here in Houston. Houston's growing on me. I realize, Dr. Carly, like I'm planting roots. This is planting roots, right? When you have two kids in the same place, I think it's roots that's happening right now. So I am in Houston. I'm in Houston, Texas. I'm going to rep that. That is where I am based. I am truly based here.
Yes.
Yes. I have ties in New York City, and having lived there for a decade, becoming the writer that I am today. That city truly molded me, and what you just said about not being afraid. Well, the city life will do that to you. You have to be kind of fearless, and I'm grateful because it was my mentors and it was so many brilliant people I met on my path, on my academic path, but also I'm going to say on my spiritual journey into becoming, just a young woman who was really out to heal herself. I met some incredible people along the way, and so many people taught me to embrace my voice and that I had one. And folks nurtured me, and I'm grateful to have taken advice and have been encouraged to now be a published author. This is an incredible time in my life. So for those who don't know me and are joining in, this is like a new start, a new path to my life that is breaking forth, and it's incredible to still be here to tell the tale.
Yes, amazing, amazing. And so tell us about your most recent literary work of art.
Yes. So recently it was announced that my memoir, which is titled I Am Mostly Bad Blood,
Mm.
and it's funny because that was a title to a poem. That was
Wow.
not that was not it. I did not write that to be a book title. So that's a funny story. But yes, that is the title to my memoir, which was announced that it was selected, which is a huge honor when you submit your book to a contest, which I did with Autumn House Press. They had an open call for nonfiction, and I submitted what I had. It it's really not been nurtured. It has not been, I had not spent large amounts of time with it for any moms who are on, and or anyone who's wondering what a book journey looks like. I'm shocked that they gave me a call and said that I had won the first prize of their nonfiction contest, which means I get a contract with the press. They'll publish the book. I got an honorarium. I have a blurb from the judge who judged the contest, Mei Lee Chai, and I mean, it's just an honor. So that is my most recent work that's out there, and why I'm so happy to share that with your audience is because this is a full circle moment. This is a memoir that is short-lived. This is not about the day I was born. This is about the day I became a mom and what my motherhood journey has cost me. And what blood means metaphorically in the sense of what it means to be covered, what
Yes.
it means to have survived something that the average woman in my lineage I feel would not have survived. I'm
Mm.
speaking to that blood. I'm speaking to what it means to be a blood mother, a birth mother, what it means to be a biological parent, because I've experienced what it is to be in a legal process where there's so many terms that define you. So I'm picking apart the blood, and I'm talking about what it is to kind of be born out of a wound, out of so much trauma,
Mm.
how
Mm.
to be labeled by it, how to have been birthed in it, and how I'm rising out of that, how I'm breaking forth. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's it. That's
Wow.
my
That's a
baby.
lot.
That's going to be out there in the world next year, next fall.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that. Tell us about the title. What inspired the title? Bad Blood.
So, like I said, I didn't know this was going to be the title. Actually, I had a few other titles that I experimented with long before this one. But I think how I came upon this one was because the the opening essay is an essay that I started writing 6 months after, you know, I had been without my daughter, dealing with our, custodial issues between her father and I. And I knew, and the essay was called Blood Mother.
Mm.
And I think that that term kind of coined itself because I was arrested, and I'm speaking about my arrest a lot in this book because I was arrested
Mm.
unjustly behind my daughter. And this is all being unraveled in the book about how important it is to follow your court order, how important it is to, regardless of what another parent is doing, for you to be that parent that is following that order. Um, there were consequences behind my fear. There was consequences behind what protecting my daughter looked like.
Yeah.
And so in those consequences, and in the back of that police car, the cop goes, "Are you her blood mother? Did you give birth to her?" And I thought to myself, like, yes, of course, but that term kind of stuck with me because I also began my menstrual cycle in the back of that police car. So I was booked, and I spent 40 hours just in a complete state of trauma and panic while I was also, bleeding. And being in a county jail with little to no resources, afraid of being in this cesspool of other women identified women. It was a lot, it was a lot going on, and I talk about all of this in the book. Yes, so this book is layered. What it is for me to metaphorically think about the idea of blood as spiritual covering, but also as actual physical sacrifice, and also as a proven fact. And it's so much there that I'm trying to once you read it, you're gonna understand, because I'm almost nervous. I'm actually really scared because you're correct that I'm taking no easy ways to make the book or to make my story read better for anyone. I could not write it any way other than exactly how I felt. And there's parts where I think I'm really angry. And there's parts when I think I'm actually having an encounter with God. And I'm never quite sure which is which, but it all feels really necessary that way. It just feels really necessary that way. Because motherhood a little bit of chaos, a little bit of a lot of beauty, but a lot of chaos. So I can't talk about the chaos without also talking about what's great and what's absolutely beautiful about motherhood. But I'm also not afraid to highlight what's being overlooked.
Yes.
Yeah, what's being overlooked.
Yes. Wow. I just want to thank you for being so willing to share your voice, during such a difficult time, in your life, and kind of giving us how you felt in those moments and what you learned in those moments. I think it's quite interesting that he asked, if you're her blood mother. I'd never heard that term before. But when I hear it, it resonates so deeply with me. It really does. And I find it quite interesting because I feel an attachment to that. I feel that, yes, with our children, we share that blood, we share that bond. And with it, it does come this mama bear attitude. We're willing to do what's necessary to protect our children and to take care of them at all costs. Even sometimes to our own detriment, but I still feel that's nature. I feel that it's our duty to protect our young. I do. For those of you who don't know, who haven't watched our first episode with Starr Davis from season 1, she is a survivor of domestic violence. And through that domestic violence, she fled. And upon fleeing, she was arrested unjustly and her child was taken. She was subsequently reunited with her daughter, Heaven Lynn. However, things have taken another turn. So tell us more, Starr, what is your current writing been focused on?
Oh, I'm gonna reveal all my tea. Lately, I've been writing my next piece, my next book, which someone told me this was gonna happen. Because after like your first book, I think the idea of writing a book is less scary. You've done it, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of naturally began something that's next, and I think you really like it. It's more of a political nonfiction work, which is scary for me to talk politically. And I realized almost, am I allowed in this space? And I thought to myself, based on what's happened to me, yeah.
Yeah.
I think now is a real radical time for writers to write. Um, and it's sad that I have to say something like that on a day like today, where there's a lot of Black journalists who are being laid off. And there's a huge crisis right now with a huge layoff of Black journalists at major presses right now. So I'm saying this kind of radically, but I still believe it needs to happen. It's true that there should be more writers of color writing in these lanes, writing their stories. Our stories are really important. So I'm speaking about the myth behind there being mom states. This is just a weird curiosity of mine on whether that's true or not. Because in my head, I don't think it's true. And I've heard from a lot of lawyers that it is not true. I believe there was a myth that formed a while back where there were states or cities or whatever that believed, like, yeah, mothers should mother their children. And there were more maybe rights, community policies, and things written around that than there were in other cities. And I think people labeled those cities as mom states. But when it came time for who was breaking a court order, and even though, what looked like contempt for me was actual protection, I was still arrested in another state, which means I was not safe in another state because I was protecting my child, even if that state was a democratic city, even if that state had policies and things written around motherhood that helped me tremendously, which is true. Ohio helped me. Ohio, whatever was left of me after fleeing a domestic violent partnership, Ohio patched me back together. It is the epitome of home. And I'm grateful for my family and friends there who were there to pick up the pieces and help me find my footing as a first time mom. But when it came time, I was arrested in my own city where I thought I was safe, where I went to school, where I was born, where I thought I knew things, So I'm kind of debunking this myth, which is I'm sorry I have to be the one to do it, but if I do work, I'm kind of debunking a political myth, but I'm also speaking to a political problem.
Yes.
Around there being very little safety for mothers, around there being very little, federal policies on this, and there being very little action taken for women like me who, have had to deal with these paradox situations in the system and this broken system. And it becomes kind of a memoir because I can't help but metaphorically think about mom states and then the state of a mom.
Ooh, yes.
So I'm doing a lot of twists and turns with the idea of a mom state and a
Yeah.
mother state. So there's a lot of things I'm playing with, and I'm excited to see what comes of that. So.
Yes, yes, me too, me too. And I definitely would love to hear more about that and more about your thought process and your writing process. But we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the evening, but everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with our special guest, Starr Davis.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pink Table Talk. Tonight, we're talking with one of our recurring guests, Starr Davis, who has published some new works of art in her writing, and she is also the winner of a publishing award for her new work, Bad Blood?
I am mostly bad blood.
I am mostly Bad Blood. And so I can't wait for that to come out. And so we can have that and have that good piece of knowledge. I feel that we can all learn from that work of art. So before we went on our break, we started talking about some of your newer work. And you talked about these quote unquote mom states and also the state of a mother. For those of you that don't know, there is a law called the Violence Against Women's Act. So this act is meant to protect women who are fleeing a state due to domestic violence. This act is supposed to protect domestic violence victims so that way they can get to safety. However, in Starr's case, and in so many, what people don't know is that oftentimes mothers are arrested for fleeing from domestic violence, and their children are then taken from them unjustly. And so Starr is talking to us now about that and about how the legal system, and there is a myth that believes that mother states often award custody and they favor mothers. However, these are myths and they are not true to the real life experiences of hundreds and hundreds of mothers across the country. So Starr, continue telling us about your journey in writing about the state of motherhood and the mom states.
Oh, it's such a mess. It is me being in a complete state. I mean, if we're talking about the state of my motherhood, that's probably what I'm really talking about. Because I am in a state of being very cognizant that if something on this journey breaks my character, then I've officially lost at motherhood. I was actually just kind of pounding away in the manuscript because I was thinking about my own mother. I can't help it. And I love you, Ma. If you ever listen to these things, I do, and I can't help but write about my relationship with her, which I know it affects her. Um, and it's interesting because I write about both of my parents openly and honestly, and they're both aware of that. They've been aware since I was a child because I've always been like this.
I always tell people, are like, you're so smart.
I
Been
feel
like
like
this since day one. Like, I
my
feel
dad
you.
my dad was just telling my fiance about all of my letters. I used to write him detailed letters while he was in prison, and I was just a little kid. But I have always been like this, and my dad loves it. He looks at it like he's aware it is creative expression, but he's also aware that I use my words, or at least my intent is to help people. He
Yes.
knows that. He knows my heart is soft. My mom just looks at it like an attack of her character. And maybe I am because, well, motherhood and our character is what is the imprint on our children. If
Yes.
is it not? You know, if you come home and your mom is angry every day after school, that's a mark on you. You know, and for me, that is how my mother was. She would come into the house and shut herself into her room, and she'd never come out. Um, she would cook dinner really early. The sun would still be up, and after she'd cook, it'll be almost like she'd retire herself, and she was gone. You do not want to go in that room to bother her when she is smoking her cigarette, watching the news. You do not want to go in there.
Oh, I know.
And I just used to think, are we that bad? You know, I really used to wonder, like, does she not want to hang out with us? Are we loud? She didn't talk to us. She didn't engage. And we're older now when she wants engagement. You know, and it's funny, but I realize I'm not saying I'm talking about me doing that. I'm actually talking about how I can understand what might have broke my mom's character along the way. I can understand what might have caused her to want to isolate once she came home. You know, now I know what it is to carry. You know, you don't just carry those 9 months, you're still carrying way after, and you feel it every day. You feel the weight of your children,
Yes.
you know, and even if you're without them, you feel the weight, you know, maybe double that. You know, and so I'm not tearing her down. I'm just aware that the state of motherhood is it seems like it's just ungovernable. Like you cannot truly put a policy on motherhood. Almost you can't put a stamp on it because it's so individually like based. It is so case based. It is survival. And I love my mom, and I speak a lot to the fact that I am aware she has showed me that nothing about motherhood, you know, exists outside of survival first, you know. And my issue with that is that I don't want to believe that's all the way true. I am her rebellious, loving daughter who I just have to believe that I can have fun being a mom, that it does not look like death, like that it does not look like me being in my room by myself without wanting the like I just don't want to believe certain things. Even though I'm almost afraid to say I know that's true. I still can resonate with that. So it's a lot of political tug and war, but it's also me peeling back more more intergenerational trauma and trying to heal from that.
Yes, yes. We actually have a comment from my mother. How funny.
Hey, Mom.
My mother, hi, Mom. She says motherhood is a different experience for every mother, and that's so true. I do have to agree with that. It's funny. I was going to say something about my mother, but since she's watching, I can't to myself.
You be careful now. Listen, I know my mom is asleep right now. She is not worried about this.
But it's so true, because in the type of advocacy and community work that I do, I work with a lot of mothers in crisis. But then on the flip side of that, professionally, I work with other types of moms, and I see the difference. I've talked with mothers who are in that survival mode that you're talking about. And I do believe it's culturally and generationally passed down. And then I've spoken with other mothers who I know on a professional level, and they don't have those same experiences. They don't have that. They have a sense of ease and comfort. And so I think it's quite interesting to see that division there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think, and we spoke about this before when I was with my Substack piece about my mother. And I also think it's race, race based. And I hate that has to be a thing, but it is something about being a Black mom that is like a literal political threat.
Yes.
I walked into a courtroom where I was destined to lose because of everything I was coming in.
Yes.
And I was ignorant to the Southern laws, the family laws. There is no such thing as coming down to Texas and thinking it's a thing for you to wear the fact that you're able to be a single mother. Coming in a courtroom and proudly wearing that, which I did. I said, I don't want child support for him. I can take care of me and my kids. That's the attitude I had. And their attitude was, you did not have this child by yourself. How dare you? The audacity of you, to think this is okay. Like, we're going to make him pay you child support because that's his child. We're going to make him visit her and be active because that's his child. And now we're going to watch you. And you better let him, And that became, like, I immediately became policed as a mother.
Ooh.
So it's hard because I think my mom gave me this strange confidence that, you're young, you're Black, you've worked hard, that's your baby. This is also coming from a woman who didn't have her father in her life, So there's sometimes this stigma in our community where you see us as a village. Black women are not afraid to village themselves with children. And they do it well. Do we not? I was raised by my mom, my grandma, my sisters, my aunties. I'm not even listing an uncle yet, because I was raised around a village of women. And that's how my mom chose to raise me, which wasn't, I'm not going to say it was wrong. It was smart in her eyes because she had resources. It's just none of those resources were stable. And none of those resources were going to help me understand fatherhood or masculinity. Which I wish I had more exposure to that in my life. But my mother chose not to date. She chose not to bring men around because she had, so she then isolated me from the masculine experience. So again, I'm engaged. I want my children to have both. Yes. And that's scary, right? Because now I have to have both. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is masculinity. And it's not toxic. And it's not scary. And it's good, so I'm debunking things that my mother just was too, we just decided to do it different. But I'm just,
I like that though. I like that.
I'm highlighting it again for her in a book that I'm sure she won't read, y'all.
Well, my mom is listening, so I know she'll read it. We're going to go ahead and take our second break of the evening, but everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. Artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pink Table Talk. The show is produced by Lawin Media Network, and you can catch us live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, either through our YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitch TV, or on all podcast platforms. Tonight, we're talking with Starr Davis, and we're talking about her current writing works. So before we went on break, we started talking about motherhood and masculinity, and also how generationally we are taught how to raise our children. I do have a comment from an audience member, Mima De Vera. She says that writers have so much experience and emotions they want to express. Hence, they are able to create arts and masterpieces. Would it be okay to ask what made you write and what do you write about?
Oh, I love that question. I guess, the short answer is writing has always been my outlet to heal. And that starts with just journaling. Mm-hmm. Later pursuing my own professional career as a writer. I think that started because, honestly, that started because I was mostly writing a lot of poetry. And I had a professor tell me that he felt like I should start just outright telling my stories, because I was doing that in poetry. In poetry, sometimes the framework of a poem is just, you're going to limit yourself. And he's like, I feel like you need to just pour out those stories and just write it out. And I did. And here we are. I'm very grateful. The long answer is I choose to write my own stories now in long form, like in essays, like boldly talking about my life and my motherhood experience. If I'm being honest, especially on this podcast, I just have to say this. I think it is really important for us to reimagine these really hard circumstances we're in as mothers. When you have a court telling you what time you'll pick up, your child, or like when you're being policed by a system, but then also governed spiritually by God, who has given you a child, and you you kind of feel like there's two gods, you feel like there's two mediums, but really you have to realize there's just one, it is just God governing me in this journey of motherhood. So like I'm choosing to write because now I'm choosing to speak against what is trying so viciously to tear our community apart once again. Right. Like if we're really being honest, we've already experienced the absence of a man in the household. And how are we not silently seeing that now the mother is being taken out of the household?
Yes.
How are we not waking up to see the same thing is happening now, but in reverse? And I have to get in on that, whether I want to kind of or not. So to say like, why do I write or what makes me? Well, now I'm very like ambitiously driven for a purpose. Someone has to put light to these issues. And if it starts with me being honest, I'm just grateful to be one of the few to speak that this is a real issue.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I love that you are putting a voice to what so many others are experiencing across the country, if not the globe, to issues that may have never even been people made aware, the public made aware about. And so I think that what you're doing is so important because if any change is to occur, whether legally or publicly or in the communities, it starts with one voice. It starts with a brave and bold person such as yourself, as well as an educated person. You're very well educated and well spoken. And so you're able to eloquently put to paper what so many are feeling, seeing, and going through. We have another comment from an audience member, 09. They said, you shared so much already. How do you decide where to draw the boundary between your public life and your private healing when writing and speaking? It's very good.
That is.
Well, me, I'm an open book. I let it all out.
I'm laughing because at church I wrote down the word discretion very big because I have to practice that. Yeah, I do. I'm an open book. I've always been an open book. I'll tell a stranger my life. Houston has stopped me from being an open book. But I'm still an open book to those who I just love, of course. I'm so vulnerable to to everything. I guess where I'm learning to draw boundaries, because again, I'm learning this. This is a great question. Is by practicing my discernment. Legally, I have been put in a position where even my manuscript has had to be legally screened to make sure I cannot be sued or, attacked in any way for how I'm even relaying my story. And Dr. Carly, I was really embarrassed at first when that had to happen to me, but now I kind of think that's like kind of cool, like I do feel like everyone should have their book legally screened. Like if you are talking about a controversial anything, like I think folks should practice this type of, and I almost feel like, has God structured me or positioned me to, even see my process through the rest of my career this way? I don't know. He might be saving me because I do take risks to write, and you're going to take a risk no matter what. So, life is a risk. So, but to take a risk to, amplify mothers, Sure. So, but yes, with drawing the boundaries, I'm trying to practice discernment, and I am also trying to practice healing first.
Yes.
So I can't write that well in the thick of it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually really great to I'm honored to be here, Dr. Carly, because I was in a state of some very deep grief. And I wasn't writing, I was reading.
Mm. Mm.
And I paint too. I like to paint when I'm just sad or when I just want to have my mind go blank. I like to paint or color or draw. So I'm doing those things while I was really grieving, and bouncing back from postpartum, all of those things. I'm writing now, and this is the only way I know I'm healed. Like when I return to that, I'm aware that what was private is allowed to be a little public now. Like I've went through something to share, so that's kind of how I distinct it. But I also, again, I still try to practice discernment with all things, because everybody doesn't need to know everything, and I love to keep a little mystery to myself. So yeah.
Yes, very well said. And I have to agree. I think honestly, we need to speak our stories. I find that when we do share our stories, we find that there are others out there going through similar, if not the same struggle. I find that there's healing and peace that comes with releasing that story, releasing that burden. Because keeping it all in is only going to weigh us down and continue to traumatize us and keep us isolated. But in sharing your story, you're building a community and you're encouraging others, and they're going to feel supported and seen and heard by your story.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so you mentioned some legal things. So are there legal resources, organization, or advocacy efforts out there for other parents dealing with parental abductions and custody trauma?
Oh, I wish I could be of help in that area. I truly do, and I still need like resources and community assistance in that area. So that is an open call for anyone who knows things about this. But I would say what is helping me is I am a fellow right now with an organization called the After Violence Project.
Hmm.
They're based in Austin, but they want stories from people who have systematic or histories with the carceral system here in Texas or anywhere, that speaks to like unjust carceral system encounters such as mine,
Yeah.
right? Being unjustly arrested, and we're trying to speak more and provide more of a language to state violence, so that there can be more community action taken around building advocacy plans and more advocacy in communities that deal with lots of state violence. So I've been grateful to find the After Violence Project. They are helping me with like my next project, and they're just a major resource for those who like you want to know those histories in your community of people who have had issues with the carceral system, with the system, with domestic violence, with custody issues, like I think organizations like this are very special, and they're very important, because they're so local. So that's the After Violence Project. So yeah, they're a huge resource for me right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Because there could be someone watching now who can reach out to them for some help. So thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to take our last break of the evening, but everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with our special guest, literary author and writer, Starr Davis.
For divorce and family law in Texas, Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC will guide you every step of the way.
From initial consultation to detailed review of your case and strategic planning.
We'll sit with you during negotiations or mediations, and represent you in court.
Whether it is a family law, estate planning, or immigration, we will be there to guide through the final steps.
So, leave your legal matters behind you and embrace your future.
You can contact Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC at 346-5454-346 or visit DizonLawFirm.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pink Table Talk. Tonight, we've been talking with Starr Davis, who has been putting to the paper her experiences with motherhood. So, Starr, I know currently, right now, you're going through some challenges, but you're not currently with your daughter, Heavenly.
Yes.
So, can you tell for us what you would hope to see as justice for Heaven?
Yeah, what I want for my baby girl is what I've always wanted. The day I decided to become a mother, and I just want to shout out Avail NYC.
Yes,
they were a huge resource for me when I was pregnant with Hevelyn. And I remember telling this to them. What I want for her is what every mother really wants, I guess. I want for her to be safe and to have a safe childhood, a safe upbringing. I had a great childhood, and, of course, there were things that happened to me. My mother was a single mom, and she also wasn't that maternal and affectionate. So, I dealt with some hard things as a child, but it's not to say I wasn't safe. I was always with my mother. She was, I orbited her. I loved my mother. I couldn't imagine whatever my daughter's going through right now. Her life and the cusp of her life, I had to realize is its own.
Mm-hmm.
Her life and the path of her life is its own, which is really scary to say that about a 4-year-old. My daughter was born into a relationship that did not exist. My ex and I were not together, and when that relationship and when that that time came, I realized he wasn't able to be a safe father to the child, and I left. It's now become like a tug of war. So what I want for her is to not feel that tension anymore, because I'm sure she has to feel it at 4 years old. For a long period, I'm with my dad, and then for what might feel longer to her, I'm without my mom. What's going on? And maybe he's saying bad things about me. I've tried not to do that, for her, with him, but I don't know. But all I know is her life looks like this. And I would like my daughter's life to be at a standstill, for her to have consistency and a great childhood. So I know God wants that too. And I just try to partner with him, and I try to keep positive thoughts throughout the day concerning her.
Yes, that's very good. We have another question from an audience member. They said, writing about trauma can be re-traumatizing. How do you find the strength? And what is your self-care routine for writing such difficult, deeply personal experiences? Yes, that's a very, very good question.
It is.
And I'm curious myself.
It is. I'm grateful because I'm very lucky. This all sounds really cliche. I get to write about hard things around people who are championing me to write them. I'm fortunate enough to have support to do really brave things. My fiance supports me, so if I am having a writing session and it's heavy, he lets me cry about that, and he'll hold space with me for that. It is re-traumatizing, and writing about my life isn't easy. And when these books come out, I'm gonna be terrified. But I have too many people in my life to let me know I don't have to be afraid and that I am necessary. And I just have people, Dr. Carly, I have you, and I have people who are telling me how important this is. So I keep going. It is difficult and it is deeply personal, but it's a calling on my life, and I'm grateful because I have people who are holding me while I do this and covering me while I do this. So I'm grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Starr, for coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your work of art with us, your beautiful writing, your beautiful poetry, your wonderful book that's coming out next year. For those of you that want to see her work, you can visit her website. She also has a Substack, and you can read her current works, her essays. They're so deeply raw and so touching. And I love the way this woman writes. I do. I'm a big fan. So,
Well, next year is going to be fun. You're going to get your signed copies.
I can't wait. I'm already going to coin the term, what was it, Blood Mother? Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yes.
But thank you so much again for being so brave, being so bold. I can only imagine, what every day is like, but you are strong, and we're here for you. We love you. We love Heaven Lynn, and we can't wait for you guys to be reunited.
Yeah.
For those of you out there, parental kidnapping is wrong. A child deserves to grow up with the love of both parents. So please, if you know any children that are also missing and exploited, please reach out to the hotline there, and report any issues that you may see. This is an important issue that we do still need some laws to be changed on these issues. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. Be sure to watch us next week, Pink Table Talk. Thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.